If I could play all the games for maybe less or slightly more money, why would I buy a console that would limit me? Since I was little, I have been a gamer. Since about 5 years old, I think that's the first time I ever picked up a controller, a console, and just lost myself in a virtual world. Now, at that time, I was playing some Spider-Man handheld. I don't even know if I can find it, but if I can, I'll insert a clip of the game. But since then, I have been lost in the world of gaming. Now, since then, a lot of things have changed in gaming, and honestly, the whole landscape has changed to where, honestly, even though I have been a lifelong console player, I don't think I'll ever buy a console again. And there's a few reasons why. The first reason why I would never buy a console again is because of price. It's not because I can't afford the console, it's more because the prices doesn't make sense to performance. The Xbox 360 was $300. Flat even, which at the time, obviously with inflation, is closer probably to $500 now, but it wasn't just insane, it was reasonable, along with the Xbox One and PS5, which both released at a price of $500. Now, to be fair, when the PS5 and Xbox One X released, they were also $500, but it didn't really seem like that because if you remember the PS5 launch, it was during COVID, everybody scalped it, and causing a lot of people to have to pay ridiculous prices for the console, up in the range of $700, $800, even $1,000. I actually know multiple people who got consoles during this time who paid $1,000 for their PS5. Now that's just kind of the reselling market, and ultimately I think a lot of that sums up to I having patience for it. But nevertheless, that was the price to entry back then. And recently, PlayStation has even increased their prices. Now be it's only $50, so a PlayStation 5 will now cost you $550. And a PlayStation Pro will now cost you $750. And like I said, these prices aren't just insane, but they're too high for me. Before I move on to why the price is too high for me, I'll go to Microsoft prices. Right now, Xbox Series X with 1 terabyte, because that's ultimately the one you're going to want, is $750. Now, the reason this is the console that you're going to want is because it's 1 terabyte. And if you don't know, games now have gotten bigger and bigger. It's not uncommon for a game to literally be 100 gigabytes. Off the top of my head, I know Starfield was 100 gigabytes, Spider-Man was 100 gigabytes. I think Red Dead Redemption was 100 gigabytes. Oh, Call of Duty was also 100 gigabytes. There's a lot of games that take up a lot of space. And these are some of the most popular games. Now, to Microsoft's credit, they have offered a more affordable version of the Xbox and the Xbox Series S, which is only around $300. But honestly, buying a underpowered console does not make sense in this time. And honestly, while $300 might seem like reasonable to the untrained and ultimately ignorant of games and technology side of things, somebody who actually knows what you can equally get for $300 would never buy the Xbox Series S. And one of the main reasons why it's actually sitting on my desk. This bad boy, the Steam Deck. Now, I think the Steam Deck retails for around $300, but I actually got mine off of eBay for $200. And with that, I get access to all PC games, all Xbox games, because all Xbox games come to PC if you didn't know. And now with PlayStation and Sony converting their games to PC more and more, I can play all those games on my Steam Deck as well. So for a price like that, it really doesn't make sense for me to buy an Xbox Series S where I could buy a handheld console that I can take anywhere with me, also can hook up to a monitor if so I desire, for nearly the same price or even less. More about the handheld thing too, a lot of handhelds have been coming out ever since the popularity of the Steam Deck, but the reason a lot of them don't get as much traction as the Steam Deck is because I feel like a lot of them don't understand price to performance. The ROG Ally and Legion Go might be more powerful consoles on paper, they're a lot more expensive. With the Legion Go actually being $700, and the ROG Ally being $600 with the newer models looking to be around $800. It makes no sense for me to buy these consoles when I could buy a Steam Deck that's more optimized and for less money. Now, Steam actually does have the upper hand with this because if you don't know, Steam is like the gaming platform that everybody on PC uses to buy their games. So I believe if a company makes their game optimized for the Steam Deck, they place them higher on the Steam page, probably leading to more sales and things like that, which honestly gives it the same effect as a console. Because if you don't understand why a console is easier for companies to optimize than PCs, is because all consoles are made the same way. All consoles have the same GPU, CPU, things of that nature, so they can ensure that their platform will run the same on every single console. While PC, you might have more RAM, you might have a different GPU, you might have a different CPU. All of these things which will affect how your game runs differently. But regardless of that fact, I feel like people now feel like it's more expensive to get a PC when that's not really the case. See, I got a PC that I got probably about 3 or 4 years ago for around $1,000. Now, when people hear $1,000, they think my PC isn't that good. They think it's a low quality PC. But I will tell you, my PC with a 2060 in it runs every game that I could ever want to at a decent frame rate and graphics that are definitely pleasing to me. Now, to be fair, I'm not the biggest critic on graphics. It doesn't really matter to me that much. I mean, while I do like my games to look good, as long as I can look at it and it doesn't look like a potato, I'm fine. Especially coming from console, before I got my PC, I played on Xbox One. So the graphics was comparable to that. So that was fine enough for me. But you gotta think about the same prices I just told you. Now, again, I paid $1,000 for this 4 or 5 years ago. Now, you could probably get a similar PC to this probably now, I would assume, for $600 to $700. So with that, I get a PC that can do more things and play more games, because that's another advantage as well. PC has access to all the games. Microsoft puts all their games on PC, and PlayStation has started to implement it more as well too. In fact, look at the last game I was playing. I just got that game, by the way. I haven't had a lot of time to play the game as of recently, but thank you, girlfriend, for buying me that. That's a big advantage. If I could play all the games for maybe less or slightly more money, why would I buy a console that would limit me? Now, to be fair, I don't feel like the console wars is a real thing anymore. I remember back in the day where the console wars was serious. People took that serious, or at least children did. I remember we would get into these big arguments at school if Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3 was better, knowing we knew absolutely nothing about the console. Honestly, at that point, bro, literally our argument consisted of Xbox 360's interface being green and easier, or PlayStation's being easier. We didn't know anything about how powerful the console was or anything like that. Or our favorite point for our argument, that more people was on either console. It's kind of funny to look back on it and realize that that's what the argument was about, but anyway, I digress. I kind of talked about my second point, and it's the fact that games are literally on the PC now for every single console. And again, it doesn't make sense for me to limit myself to one console when I know everything is going to come on the PC. Now, granted, like I said, PlayStation has put more games on the PC, but it does take a bit more time for them to come, maybe like a year or so. But for somebody like me, who's a casual gamer, like I think most people are nowadays, it doesn't really matter to me to wait that long to wait a year for a game to come out. I know for some of you that might seem like a long time, but honestly, it just doesn't bother me that much. I don't mind waiting a year, and honestly, with the way games come out now, a lot of them launch as broken mess, so they don't even become playable till a year later. I've gotten to play every single big exclusive from PlayStation, from God of War, Spider-Man. That's pretty much the only ones y'all got, because consoles don't even have no games no more. Back in the gap, like when I was talking about them console wars, they literally had exclusives, big banger exclusives for both platforms. Xbox with Halo, Gears of War, PlayStation with things like God of War. What else though? PlayStation. Not gonna lie, the only PlayStation 3 exclusive that I can remember was God of War, because that was the only game that I really wanted to play and just couldn't. And honestly, that's just not a reality no more. Now, I will say, I do think that this is better for the market overall, that every game will come to everything. I always thought that was kind of stupid that only one platform would get your game. I even remember further in the PlayStation 4 to Xbox One era of No Man's Sky coming out for PlayStation, and Ghost of Tsushima coming out, and that was it. Or Infamous, and really wanting to play those games but never having the opportunity to, because now I've played all of them. But that was a real thing. That was a really big driver of which console I was gonna buy, which console that I think had better exclusives. But now with that not being a factor anymore, why would I buy an Xbox? Why would I buy a PlayStation? where I could buy a PC that will last me longer and probably play more games. Because not even the console games, PC gives you more access to PC exclusive games. One of my favorite games on the PC is Project Zomboid, which is not available for Xbox or PlayStation. But I would never be able to have access to this game if I did not have a PC. The third and final reason that I would never buy a console again is ultimately because of the rise of cloud gaming. Now this one might be a bit controversial to some people because I think some people dislike cloud gaming very heavily, but honestly, as I've had a chance to play around with cloud gaming more and more, I think it's a really good tool that will ultimately replace having a console at one point. This is why I say this. I told y'all I'm a casual gamer. I have less time to play the game, and honestly, I'm on the go more now than ever, which is probably what led me to like the Steam Deck even more. But sometimes I don't want to tote around my big Steam Deck, so I purchased a service called NVIDIA GeForce Now around 2 years ago. And the idea of playing my computer games on an iPad was like the coolest concept to me. Now, originally when it first came out, it wasn't very optimized, and I felt like I was always experiencing stupid amounts of lag and things like that. But now it has gotten a lot better. So much so to now where I bring my iPad to school or work, I could boot up into a game like Starfield. I know people are gonna make fun of me for playing Starfield. It's just a comfort game to me.
Stop it. Get some help.
And I experience little to no lag. Or even like Xbox Cloud Gaming. A lot of the time I like to go on Xbox and play Skate 3. Now, of course, the only downside to cloud gaming is that it's heavily dependent on your Wi-Fi. So if you're somewhere that has terrible Wi-Fi, this might not be the best option for you. But honestly, I don't even see that being too much of a factor now either, because like I said, I've played this at work before and my job has literally some of the worst Wi-Fi known to mankind. It makes me mad every single day, even when I'm trying to use basic tasks. So the fact that I could go on that Wi-Fi and still play my cloud gaming means that it's had to improve a little bit thus far. And honestly, I still feel like it's kind of an underground way of doing it, but as it gets more and more popular, I feel like it'll just only get better. I've even used streaming games to my at-home PC to play them sometimes, mostly because I just wanted to test it out and see how it worked. But honestly, it played flawlessly with no problems. And that really made me think in my head, whoa, I could literally play this on any type of PC. It doesn't have to be an upgraded PC like the one I have, and I can still get pretty much the same experience. Now, I know some people, if you're a very much computer nerd and you care about frame rates and all that type of mumbo jumbo, this also might not be the best option for you. But again, for somebody like me who just plays games when they have free time, this is really a game changer. Because like I said, I could buy a cheap Walmart PC, not even a cheap, a moderately good Walmart PC that'll do all the office work that I wanted to do. And whenever I had time to play the game, I could just get on GeForce Now and play the game at a really high level. The biggest price to entry would probably be my monitor, making sure my monitor is good. But besides that, I'll have everything I want and it will cost me a lot less. The only downside I can see you saying for this is that I'm paying $20 a month, so that's like $200 a year. So in 3 years, I'll be to spend $600 for something I could have just bought a PC for. And for that, my friend, you have a fair point. But you have to understand that, honestly, as you get older, bro, there are gonna be points in your life where you have more responsibilities. And unless you are literally playing the game every day, this will still be a better price option for you. Because you gotta think, when people are talking about the highest ends of PC gaming, they're talking about those $3,000–$4,000 computers. Now, in my opinion, will I do it this way? Probably not, because I would do something similar and just get a mid to low end PC gaming rig so I can boot them whenever I want to. And I still had the capability to do GeForce Now if I would like. Or honestly, say forget it and just get a Steam Deck. I'm not the only one who's been thinking this, because honestly, as of lately, console sales have been dropping dramatically. And honestly, I just feel like it'll continue to be the trend as more services like this come out and more alternatives come out. I don't know what that'll make the gaming landscape look like, but like I told you, I've already made the switch to PC. So I think that'll just ultimately cause a lot of people to follow. That pretty much sums up why I'll never buy a console again. And honestly, after this PC, maybe never a PC again either. Like I said, I'm completely fine with my Steam Deck. And honestly, when my PC goes out, the Steam Deck 2 will probably be out or revealed by then. So I'll probably just end up sticking with the Steam Deck. If you like the video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Comment your opinion on what you think the future of consoles is. Hey, but look, one more thing before you go.
Bye.